What's up, everybody? Welcome to another video. We're going to do something a little bit different today. As you can see, I am not holding an electric guitar. I'm holding an acoustic guitar. Another recent acquisition. And today we're going to talk about some of my favorite acoustic riffs. They're all pretty easy, pretty simple riffs, something you could learn if you don't already know them. If you have any questions about what I'm doing, what I'm playing, how I'm playing it, feel free to reach out to me in the comments section. No problem. Be glad to help you. Always want to help people play music. Even if you suck at it like me, hey man, it's a good way to spend your time. If you have any questions about my tuning, I am tuned to half a step down. D sharp, E flat, whatever you want to call it. Got my ghetto microphone here because I don't actually have an acoustic guitar pickup. I did have a Dean Markley Woody, but it doesn't work, so I don't know what happened. But anyway, this is just a cheap Yamaha acoustic, nothing special, and it's not brand new, but it's new to me. So let's get right into it anyway. Some of my favorite acoustic songs to play are they're all over the board. There's some, I like to play a little bit of country stuff, a little bit of blues, a little bit of rock, a lot of good acoustic music in the 90s. Alice in Chains did some great acoustic stuff. And there were some bands like Days of the New. If you've never heard of Days of the New, they were awesome. The first couple albums were just fantastic. Unfortunately, their singer and guitar player Travis Meeks had a very severe drug problem, crystal methamphetamine, I do believe, and he just spun out of control and couldn't keep a band. And it's a shame because the guy has buttloads of talent. But anyway, let's get right into it. The first song I'm going to talk about, it's like the only song by the band that I like, and it's by Tesla, and it's called Signs. It goes like this. Easy song to play. 3 or 4 chords make up the whole song. You're just constantly switching back between all them chords. But anyway, just one of the songs I always like. We used to play that in a couple of bands I was in. Crowd always seemed to like it. And that's by Tesla. The next one I'm going to talk about, a popular song from the 90s by a band called Stone Temple Pilots. I know you've heard this song. It's called Plush. How it goes. And I feel, the singers from the 90s, some of my favorites. And the next one I'm going to talk about is probably by my favorite band out of the 90s of all time, Alice in Chains. I mean, Lane Staley was just an unbelievably talented man. Started off as a drummer, if you don't know, not for Alice in Chains, but he did play drums until he was about 16 and just decided he wanted to become a singer. Unfortunately, another deeply troubled man with a severe drug problem. Seems to be pretty rampant in the music industry. And I've said it before, if you need help, there's help out there for you. Trust me on that. But this song is by Alice in Chains. It's called Brother. This was off of Sap, I do believe. Yeah, Sap. It was a EP they did right after Dirt. Goes like this. Good tune. I loved Alice in Chains for the harmonies they sang. Him and Jerry just harmonized really well together, and I just always really liked the band. This song I just actually played in another video I did about songs that need to be played on a Strat. If you haven't seen that, go check it out. And while we're sitting here talking about it, go ahead and throw me a thumbs up. I can really use the support. And if you like what you're seeing, subscribe to my channel if you feel froggy. Love to have you as the coolest group on Facebook. Those are my subscribers. And I thank each and every one of you guys for continually watching my content and giving me all the support. You know, YouTube's not an easy thing to do, sitting in front of the camera when, you know, the possibility of millions of people could be watching all the mistakes you make. I don't care. I'm not a great guitar player. I just like to play for fun. I did play in some bands and working bands. A couple of them are really busy working bands. We played some pretty decent sized shows, but I'm no Yngwie Malmsteen, you know what I mean? But this song anyway, I did it in a video of songs that must be played on a Strat, and I mentioned it was played on an acoustic. So I'm just going to go ahead and do it the justice it deserves. It's Wish You Were Here by Pink Floyd. Starts with an E sus chord. Mistakes. Yep, that's a good tune. It takes me back to my teenage years. Used to chase a girl around back in the day that loved that song, and I always thought, man, you know, if I could just learn how to play that. I was about 14 or 15 at the time. If I could just figure out how to play that, I know I could get her to go out with me. Well, I didn't learn the song until I was much older, and it wouldn't have worked anyway, because looking back on it, she was kind of an idiot. But we all have that story to tell, right? The next one I want to talk about, another band that had Lane Staley in it in the 90s. This took place after most of the Alice in Chains stuff had already taken place, just before they did their third full-length studio album, self-titled Alice in Chains, Mad Season. If you haven't heard the Mad Season album, the first one, Above, which is Lane Staley's only album he did with Alice in Chains. They also have a Live at the Moor. I believe it's a 2 CD set. Guy was just a phenomenal performer and probably the best singer in my lifetime, in my opinion. But they had a song called River of Deceit, and it goes like this. Great song. Great song. And I guess the next one we're going to talk about, I don't like anything else that this band does. I respect them for being a band and doing what they do, just not my kind of music. But this song was always kind of a guilty pleasure of mine. It's called Dead or Alive. It's one of them songs I always liked. It's a road dog song, you know. Bands on tour, worn down, drinking booze, and they're just sick of it. I can relate. Well, I've got to detune my guitar now to drop C sharp. All that is, for those of you who don't know, is instead of being an E standard, I drop my entire guitar down 1/2 step to D sharp, E flat, whatever you want to call it. And then once in E flat tuning, I drop my low E string down to a C sharp. It's drop D tuning, only the whole guitar is 1/2 step lower. If that confused you, I'm sorry. It's really easy to do. A couple of these songs here were really, I saved these two for last. The first one I'm going to play is by a band that was mostly before my time. But from the time I was a kid, luckily I grew up in a household with a lot of music. Both my mother and father were, loved music. I can still remember my mother crying the day Elvis died. I was about 4 years old, maybe not even quite 4 yet. And she was just bawling her eyes out. She loved him that much. And my dad, he listened to all kinds of different music, everything from drum and bugle corps, marching band type of stuff, to Frank Zappa and everything in between. And I thank both of them for my musical palette, because they both gave me a pretty wide range to choose from, and they both had pretty good taste in music. Now, my mom likes some country, and that's not me, but anyway, I'm happy I grew up in a household with lots of music. This song's by a band called Uriah Heep. Was out on an album that I don't even know when my dad got it. It was on an album called Demons and Wizards, and as far back as I can remember, this album was in our house. And I can remember being 6, 7, 8 years old, and I'd have them put the album on for me, and I'd listen to it in my headphones. And this song really stuck out to me, so when I got old enough to start playing guitar, I learned it. But it goes like this. Love the beginning of that. Always really impacted me, and it's a great song. If you've never heard it, go check it out. It is called The Wizard by Uriah Heep. And the last one I'm going to play is from a band called Days of the New. Mentioned them earlier. This one is called Touch, Peel, and Stand, and it goes like this. Great song. But anyway, guys, didn't want to take up all your time. Just wanted to hang out a little bit and do something a little bit different with an acoustic guitar. I apologize for the shoddy playing and the ghetto microphone, but you got to do what you got to do. All right. And the song I was playing for the intro, if anybody has any questions, by a band named Danzig called I'm the One. But I can't play it because I'm in drop D. All right, guys, that's it. Until next time, see ya!